You're listening to the Life Like You Mean It podcast, episode 6. How well do you know yourself? That might seem like a very strange question, but stay with me. So many people go through the actions of living without paying a whole lot of attention to it. They don't understand themselves. For instance, what's your go-to when you're upset, happy, exhausted? Most of us reach for comfort food or drinks when there may be many other comforting rituals that you could adapt that would give you the same feeling of comfort without the pain of eating the entire bag of crisps. Today we will be talking about reframing your comfort zone to create healthier habits that meet your needs. It's not about giving up a lot of the things that you enjoy, but it's about adding and changing key components in your life. Let's take your comfort foods as an example. Instead of reaching for that bag of crisps, like me, how about allowing yourself to still indulge in a snack, but make it thinly sliced sweet potato roasted in the oven with some oil, salt, and rosemary? Or how about a bubble bath, binge watching Netflix, a night out with your friends, or a solid hug from your loved ones? Do you even know if those options have the same effect? My guest today, Karen Cummings-Palmer, certified integrative health and nutrition coach, speaker, and founder of 79 Lux, specializes in age management, weight management, and beauty from the inside out. She doesn't believe in rules, diets, or fads. Instead, she introduces attainable, sustainable, healthy rituals to live by. Karen is an absolute expert in her field. She hosts retreats at hotels and spas, creates menus for hotels, restaurants, and corporations, redefining comfort food and delivering delicious nutrition for guests and employees while they work and play. And she practices what she preaches. In today's episode, Karen gives you all kinds of tips for wellness, handling the aging process gracefully, and new comfort foods. These are real, tangible suggestions that you can add to your life today to start reaching your goals. How excited are you for this episode? Me too. I cannot wait for you to get these incredible tips from today's expert. So let's dive right in and let you meet my friend, Karen.
You're listening to the Life Like You Mean It podcast, where we firmly believe that you and only you have the power to make the changes you seek in your life. Survivor of 10 years of child abuse, Lisa Sabaniak, will help you to empower yourself to overcome your limitations in whatever form they take, to build the life you truly deserve. It's time to hear from fellow experts who know firsthand what building a successful and satisfying life because of our past experiences is like, and exactly what it takes to do it. If you're ready, willing and able to get honest with yourself, roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty with the hard work that lasting change takes, you're in the right place. Here's your host, NLP practitioner, speaker, Reiki master, author, and chipaholic, Lisa Sabaniak.
Today's episode is dedicated to daily greatness, offering the best planners I've ever seen or used to help you change your habits and hold yourself accountable to your goals. After offering their original planner, they've branched out to now offer the most incredible planners for parents, wellness, yoga, business, and success. I started with the business planner and was, and still am, blown away. I've simply never seen anything like this. Everyone knows that changing or making new habits takes perseverance, and that's where a lot of us go wrong. We have a great goal and even a plan to reach the goal, but we don't hold ourselves to implementing the plan for more than a few days or weeks at most. That's where this planner comes in. You see, daily greatness understands that the way you start your day determines how you spend your day. And of course, the way you spend your day determines your future. The intuitive flow of the daily greatness concept gives you a foundation and a structure to your days that support you in achieving your goals. That's right, not only are you setting goals with these planners, but you are following up on those goals, changing your disempowering habits to empowering ones, acknowledging your strengths, challenging your fears, and so much more. For more information about these awesome planners, go to lifelikeyoumeanit.com/planners. Again, that's lifelikeyoumeanit.com/planners. Hello, Karen. Thank you so much for joining the Life Like You Mean It podcast today. I am sure the audience is really looking forward to hearing how you got into the health and beauty business.
Hi, Lisa. It's so great to be with you. Thank you so much. Well, quite frankly, like many women, I had issues. I was born with really bad eczema from my head down to my toes. It was particularly bad, that sort of sensitive age in my early teens. And quite frankly, I felt like I looked so bad, I didn't even want to look people in the eye at some point. It did ease up and it got better over time. And, I sort of entered into adulthood with okay skin. And I've also, whilst I've never been fat, I was just a little bit heavier than I wanted to. I just didn't look good in skinny jeans. So I sort of just struggled with the weight issue a little. And so I became really motivated to figure out what worked for me on a personal level, and then it turned into doing that on a professional level.
That is amazing. So how long have you been working in this industry for now?
So my background's in entertainment and luxury lifestyle marketing. So I worked with brands and venues, hotels and restaurants for quite a while. And then it sort of segued into beauty and health and fitness. So I've kind of been in the area for about 15 years. But then I just became more and more interested in it. I became somewhat of a commentator. People used to ask me for quotes. I was working with a great piece of fitness kit called the Power Plate. And I developed a program with the head of education. And I started, and we had clients. We had a little pop-up studio. And I started sending out blogs to clients and, recommendations. And I thought, this is great. I've got a lot of personal knowledge, but I really need to, educate myself a bit more. So I was then in Los Angeles, and I was actually being asked to provide some health and beauty content. I was interviewing some people in the health and beauty universe, and I studied integrative nutrition. So that was 10 years ago. And when I came back to the UK, which was about 6 years ago, I just, really just focused solely on supporting people and working with health and beauty brands.
That is so wonderful. I think you and I have so much in common. I mean, we've known each other for about a year now, and we do most of our interactions on social media,
Yeah.
as do most people. But from everything that I know about you, and of course, we did an event together for Wow Beauty back last year.
Yeah.
And so we got a chance to kind of meet and realize how much we actually have in common. And I used to practice traditional Chinese medicine back when I lived in Canada. And with traditional Chinese medicine, of course, you take the whole person into account. So somebody that comes in suffering from eczema or diabetes or headaches or whatever is not going to get the same treatment as everybody else that comes in suffering from eczema or diabetes or headaches, because we're unique individuals. And from what I know about the work that you do, you're very similar in your approach. So you're creating more bespoke type of programs for people, taking their whole person into account. Can you tell us why and what that process really means to you?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, the first thing I do with people is I sit down and I talk to them about their life. I take a thorough health history. How did you feel and think and behave when you were a kid? What did you eat on a regular basis? What are your familiar relationships like? How do you live now? Are you single? Do you have kids? Do you have pets? So I really get to know them from a holistic perspective. It's really interesting because quite often, somebody's coming in and they're suffering with skin issues. For example, just looking around the nose, you can often see congestion. It's probably fairly likely that they're eating too much dairy and it's really not working for them. And but so you can see people, you can look at them and have a reasonable idea. But of course, spending time with them and talking about them and really understanding how they live is the key. And of course, as you know, Lisa, everything is connected. And it's so interesting because somebody interviewed me the other day and said, what is the most powerful thing that you use? Expecting me to say, I don't know, spirulina or adaptogens. And I said, well, it's the mind. So it's really about understanding how they live, how they think, and how they feel. And then I spend the next couple of sessions not actually taking anything away, because I'm not a magician, eating French fries every day and drinking, soda. Me saying don't do it is really not going to work. But adding in the good stuff, helping them to feel better, helping them to take back some control. And then it's really interesting how, then the trust comes in and then you can take away some of the stuff that doesn't work for them so well. So everyone's different. And it's so fascinating when you find, I would say willpower is an unreliable tool, but information and leverage, that's key. And once you give people the information, and then once you find their point of leverage, is it, I don't know, I'm about to get married, or I've just got divorced, or I'm going to turn 40 or 60. Once you find that, it's then you've got somebody and you can really work with them. So everyone is completely different.
And I love what you are saying about adding the things in, because it's those small changes that start to see results, right? The person maybe doesn't lose weight, but they start feeling better, right? Maybe they're sleeping better, their skin starts to feel better. I've been in that same sort of pattern where I've just kind of, I'm sticking with my comfort foods from when I was a kid, which are not healthy at all, the classic crisps and soda and potatoes, anything potato related. I'm all over it. And it starts to fuel itself, right? You start feeling kind of blobbish, even if you haven't put on any weight yet. And it just kind of brings down your energy levels and makes you feel crummy. And the thought of completely eliminating it and starting over is overwhelming, and it feels like you're giving up something, right? Like that's feeding a need to have that comfort food, right? And so I know for myself, and some of the work that I do with overcoming those kind of limiting beliefs that people have, it's like they all are integrated with each other. And so you sometimes need to start nice and slow and just start with getting them to see just little glimpses of feeling better, feeling healthier, feeling happier. And once they start to have those kinds of results, it's much easier to then say, oh, you know what, in order for me to add more of this in, I actually have to get rid of some of this other stuff because I can't possibly eat this much in a day. And they're doing it on their own free will, their own idea, rather than you sitting them and telling them, okay, Lisa, you've got to give up the deep fried foods.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's so important. So, I mean, I'm a huge, huge believer that the media is getting better at showing different types of body images than it used to be. But I'm a huge believer, as are you, that there needs to be so much more work done there. It's so important for these different images to be represented in the beauty business. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's really, really complicated, actually. And it's interesting because I was talking with a major brand recently, a major beauty brand. And of course, they now have boxes that they have to tick. So they're becoming very aware of it. But I don't think, and I really welcome the movement towards more inclusivity, but I don't necessarily think that people are yet getting it right. And part of that is because, of course, we've had so many years of thinking that, you got to be skinny, you got to be white and preferably blonde and under 30 to be beautiful. That is the beauty ideal. So now that we're moving away from that, I think people are sort of, not quite, they're sort of fumbling around really. So there are a couple of things, and I would say that first of all, and this is potentially slightly controversial, but I'm going to say it because I actually think it needs to be said. I want to celebrate individuality and diversity. I still think the messaging has to be that of good health. So I don't think going from a size 6 to a size 18 is necessarily the way forward. Because at that stage, if you're an average height woman, that is not healthy. And obesity is a much bigger, as a greater health crisis than certainly, the opposite extreme in this country and in fact in the world. So I'm not really into this idea of extremes. I think balance in all things. So I would love to see, a size 8 woman and a size 10 woman and a size 12 woman and a size 14 woman and a 20-year-old and a 60-year-old and a blonde woman and a red-haired woman and a black woman. And I'd like to see, I'd like to see true diversity without it feeling like tokenism. And I think that once we have a healthy relationship with food, once we understand and I love food, I love to eat, and which is why I would never be skinny, because I really love food. But once we know what to do, then, there's, people are going to be naturally skinny, naturally slim, naturally curvy, but you're not going to have obesity, nor are you going to have women that are desperately unhealthily thin. There is balance in between with individuality that can be celebrated. So, and also I think that who's driving a lot of this as well, because you've still got food companies, processed food companies that are pushing an agenda. So I think, creating balance, making sure that the messaging is always healthy while celebrating and respecting individuality is absolutely key. And when it comes to the age piece of it, I think it is so important for our society that we not only say, it's okay to be a certain age, but actually we celebrate it and we see the beauty in it. I always say that youth is currency, and so is age, because with age comes grace and humility and wisdom and so many things that I think are unbelievably beautiful and attractive. And so I really want to see everybody represented, and just as the sort of, when we talk about, the size and what's healthy, whilst being, people being different. I also think when it comes to age, when I think about some of the most beautiful women in the world, in my opinion, many of them are in their 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, but you still have to manage it, right? It's like if we're celebrating women of a certain age, it's still managing it. It's still knowing what to do. It's still movement. It's still good food. It's still using amazing skincare. It's still an attitude. It's a frame of mind. So I think that we need to celebrate individuality. We need to make sure the business is truly inclusive, but that the messaging is always positive.
I love that. And I think you bringing in the age aspect of it is so true, right? We're so focused on the image of what the body looks like, but there's so many different shows or films that I'll watch, and it'll be some woman that is cast to be the mom of somebody, and it's like she looks like his sister. Yeah. Like, she is not old enough to be his mother. What is the problem with having an older woman? And I think actresses like Helen Mirren and Meryl Streep, and I mean they're so iconic and they're so amazing. And just Helen Mirren, thinking of her off the top of my head, she looks incredible. She looks like she hasn't done any kind of plastic surgery whatsoever. She's embraced her aging, and she is rocking it. She looks healthy. She looks happy. Yes, that's exactly what I would aspire to.
Absolutely. I talk about Helen Mirren a lot, actually, because she's an example of a woman that actually doesn't look very much younger than her age. She just looks fabulous. And she's also an example of a woman that both men and women are very attracted to. And I do a lot of work around age management. And I'm not helping women look young. Yeah. I'm helping them all, significantly younger than their years, although they will. What I aspire to is an ageless kind of beauty. When people very kindly and sweetly say to me, oh, you look really young. They don't, I now start correcting people. They don't, when they think about it, they don't really think I look that much younger than my years. What they think on questioning is that they don't know how old I am. It's like an ageless kind of beauty. And that's what I think Helen Mirren has. And so it's not about I am 50, I want to look 25. It's just I want to have what I call the essence of youth. And that is transparency, translucency, energy, strength, flexibility, and a glow. And that you can have at 20 and you can have at 80. That's what Helen Mirren has, and that's why she's so attractive. Not that she's a supermodel, not that she looks half her age, not that she looks perfectly smooth and tight, but she has the essence of youth. And that is attainable and it's also sustainable.
Absolutely. Like when I look at her, I really see strength. I see a woman who is confident, somebody who has literally found her strength and is embracing herself, right? She loves herself in this stage of her life, and she's not, like you say, she's not trying to look like she is younger. She is happy with who she is and where she is in life. And it's that type of attitude and confidence that I think really shines through with somebody to really make them so attractive.
Yes, absolutely.
So how do we handle the aging process since we've started talking about age?
Yeah, I mean, of course, as we discussed, everyone's different. And, all my programs are entirely bespoke. I'll see somebody twice, or I'll see somebody 12 times, or I'll see them once a quarter. But there are a few things that work for everyone. So, very simplistically, aging is the shortening of telomeres and or inflammation. So I think, bringing down one's inflammation, reducing inflammation, which, is often caused by stress, and not a lot we can do about that, right? But we can help manage it. Things like eating excess amounts of refined sugar, too much alcohol, too much coffee, too much red meat. I don't ban anything. I'm not a believer in anything strict, but I am a believer in reducing certain things. Obviously you've got to ban cigarettes. You can't smoke.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything else, I think it's all a matter of moderation. But one thing I do very little of is refined sugar. And then we need to up our anti-inflammatories. So again, the thing that I think everybody needs over a certain age, or I should say almost everyone needs, is to supplement their omega-3. So I take a really great omega-3 supplement. So that is just sort of basic 101. We all then need to move. I like to not to call it exercise, but to call it movement. Create a ritual, do it daily. When I was in Los Angeles, I was working with, we had a pop-up studio, and I was working with Raquel Welsh and her personal trainer, the guy that was sort of, seeing her day to day, said to me, he was talking about, how he was really getting her body in amazing shape. And he said, well, it's about doing it daily. People go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, and they work out like crazy, and they sweat like crazy, and then they sit around for 4 or 5 days. And so since that conversation, I have worked out every single day of my life, bar a couple of illnesses in the last few years. But if you're busy, which most of us are, you can't spend that long. So what I do is 10 minutes. Sometimes I push it to 20, but it's nearly always 10, but I do it every day. So it's about creating a ritual, then making it a non-negotiable, and then not setting yourself up for failure. So the ritual is every day. The ritual is the movement routine. The non-negotiable is daily unless I'm terribly ill. And the not setting yourself up for failure is just say 10 minutes. Just commit to 10 minutes. If you can do 20, if you can do 30, fantastic. But everybody has 10 minutes. So we reduce your inflammation, add your anti-inflammatories, move every single day. And then we also want to, which includes some weights, especially as we're getting older. Muscle tone is really key. Strength, flexibility is really key. And then, of course, getting really good nutrition. And that is, again, no rules, no diets, no fads, but mostly plants, good fats, a little bit of really good quality protein, whatever that is for you. I do eat everything. I do eat red meat, but very rarely. I eat fish fairly often, preferably wild. And I eat a ton of lentils and pulses. If you do those three things, that's a really good foundation for the age management piece. And that applies to everybody. And then, of course, topically, looking after your skin topically is obviously key.
This is the perfect spot for a quick break to talk about the planner that changed my life, Daily Greatness. These planners will absolutely blow your mind. Far from a traditional planner, these planners help you overcome your weaknesses, focus on the positive, find and follow your purpose and mission in life, set exciting goals, and follow up on those goals. We all know that our outcomes and results in life are determined by our daily habits. These planners give you the foundation for success that you need to make you more likely to succeed at achieving your goals and reaching your potential. Seriously, they're that good. They have their original version, plus one for business, success, yoga, wellness, and parents. That's 6 versions to help in any situation. To learn more, go to lifelikeyoumeanit.com/planners. Once again, that's lifelikeyoumeanit.com/planners. This link will also be in the show notes. That's fantastic. I love the 3 steps there, the creating the ritual, the non-negotiable, and the not setting yourself up for failure. I focus really big on this at the new year when everybody's doing their New Year's resolutions. I created a 30-day challenge that I launched this year, 2019, and it was all about trying to help people to kind of ease into this, where it's like, don't set yourself up for failure. Don't sit there and say, I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day and do an hour and a half workout when you've got 3 kids. You've got to be leaving the house yourself at 6 in the morning to go to work. Be realistic, like sit there and actually come up with something that could actually fit in your day. Maybe it's that you're going to spend your lunch break, instead of sitting at your desk wolfing down some food, maybe you're just going to take 10 minutes to go for a bit of a walk outside. And that, if you're not doing that already, then that actually counts for movement, right? Your body is going to look at that as something new. And over time, yes, you're going to have to up the ante a bit on that. But maybe it's not about, lifting heavy weights right away. Maybe it's about putting on some ankle weights and some wrist weights while you do that 10-minute walk through lunch, right? Make it realistic.
Yes, I always say that life is a gym. Opportunities to move are everywhere. So it's just once you think, well, I've sat down for half an hour. I don't need to sit down on a phone call. Stand up. While you're standing up, engage your core, pull your tummy to your spine. If you can't work out, work in, pull everything up, engage everything. So you sort of reframe the thinking. It's not about going to work out. It just becomes part of your life. And also reframe your timing. It's like, you know what? If you've been struggling to lose 2 stone for 10 years, you don't need to do it in a month. It's about changing how you think from today, because that year is going to go by anyway. So why not make slow, sustainable, attainable changes throughout the day? And I say I'm not a magician. The reason it works, the reason my clients always get results with me, it's not because I'm so clever. I know so much more than anybody else. It's because I understand how they live and how they think. And it's not about, you can do this for 3 months and reset. That's easy. Of course, things work for 3 months at a time. I'm interested in, do they work for a lifetime? Can you do them if you're in a hotel room? Can you do them when you're 80 and when you're 25? Can you do them if you have a huge budget or you have none at all? Can you do them, frankly, without giving up your friends and family? You need to be able to live in the world, go out to eat. So you have to reframe it. And the other thing that I wanted to say is, because, obviously food is a massive part of it, and people's habits around food is a huge part. And especially for women, it is a lot more food than the movement side of it in terms of weight management.
Yeah.
You obviously need to do both, but really tackling the food is about reframing what comfort is, because we all need comfort. We all have days that are tough, and I don't say don't have that glass of red wine or that comfort food when you get home when you've had a really tough day and you're feeling low. I'm saying have a glass of red wine as opposed to 3. I am saying, choose a wine or a clean spirit as opposed to a cocktail. I am saying, mash those pulses and make them into sort of like a mashed potato style, comforting meal, as opposed to, opening a bag of potato crisps. And if you really fancy the potato crisps, guess what? Thinly sliced and sweet potatoes, put them in the oven on high heat with some oil and some salt and some rosemary, and have your comfort there. Pop some popcorn, make it organic, do it in organic coconut oil, sprinkle some coconut syrup and some Himalayan salt. So it's about sort of if you really want that, let's have a healthy alternative. But sometimes what we need is a bath and candle.
Yes.
Sometimes what we need is great music. Sometimes what we need is a hug. Sometimes what we need is a conversation with a great friend. So don't deny yourself the kind of, I need something, I'm feeling a bit low. That's okay. But reframe what that is for you. And once you really think, okay, once you have the consciousness, and like everything in life, right? It doesn't matter whether you're talking about, world conflict or food. Consciousness and balance, the key for everything. Once you really have the consciousness, real comfort will never damage you. Because yes, eating some sweet potato fries is perhaps not so great for your weight management as kale and, quinoa. But it's not damaging, it's not toxic, it's not going to make you fat. Right. It's real food that your body can digest. And yes, that day you may not have moved forward to your weight loss goals if that's what you need to do, but it's fine. And so you don't go very badly wrong once you think, I need real comfort as opposed to damaging myself. And what a lot of people do, particularly women, is they're not actually giving themselves comfort. They are beating themselves up.
Yes, that really hits home, because I'm a big, big believer and pusher of self-care. And that has to start with actually understanding yourself, understanding what it is that you need, what it is that you enjoy, what is your go-to when you are feeling happy and when you're feeling sad and disappointed and everything in between, right? So really understanding yourself makes a huge step forward to know, well, what do I do then when I'm feeling happy? How do I like to celebrate? And is that a little bit over the top? Can I rein that in a little bit so I'm not having, 7 glasses of wine, and I could instead have, this. But same thing, when we're sad, when we're tired, when we're upset, and we go for our comfort foods and things like that. Would it actually be beneficial to have somebody that you can ring up and go out for a coffee with and have that hug? And would that give you the same sort of relief as eating an entire bag of crisps would do for some, right? And it's surprising how many people don't actually know themselves well enough to be able to figure that out. It's a whole process, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we haven't even talked yet about your amazing skin food body line that you have. Do you want to tell us a little bit about 79 Lux?
Yeah, so of course, I have a toolkit, and in that toolkit, there's a lot of psychology, sort of looking at, how people think and people's mind. It's great food, great, I don't have recipes so much, but sort of, guides to eating, supplementation, movement, topical facial skincare that I recommend, that I think is exceptionally good when it comes to, the sort of age, particularly the age management piece. And I couldn't find anything for the body that I thought was exceptional. There are lots of decent products out there. The ones that I used to use absolutely, do the job. But I was sort of, unlike some of the supplements and some of the facial products I was using, I wasn't blown away by them. And so I thought, well, I need to create it. So 79 Lux was really born out of a need for me to treat my own still quite sensitive. I don't have ultra sensitive skin. I have what I call regular sensitive skin. It's very dry and it still has the odd eczema flare up. And also, thinking about the sort of, aging process. So I really wanted to sort of tick my own boxes, to be honest, and those of my rather discerning clients. I wanted it to look beautiful, to be luxurious, to be in sustainable packaging, to be fairly gender neutral. So yes, more women than men, but men would be happy to steal it and then buy it themselves. I wanted it to smell nice, but not be very smelly, because I like my perfume and I want to put that right on top. So I just had all these boxes I wanted to tick. So and I wanted it to be made in the UK. So 79 Lux was born from that need and that desire. Kind of got the first bottle sort of fully packaged, first tiny little run, actually this time last year. And just tried it on a few people, had a few friends and family trying and testing it, and started talking to people about it. And then it was officially launched in January 2019 on Cult Beauty, which was fabulous. It's my favorite go-to beauty site. And then, got some really great feedback, some lovely reviews, and then launched in Liberty in London in April of this year. It won a Beauty Shortlist Award, which is fabulous, for Best Body Balm 2019. And then just last week, or 2 weeks ago now, the Harper's Bazaar Best of Best 100 Products 2019 as well.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when you say, there was obviously a need for this in the market, you couldn't find something that you really wanted to use yourself, never mind recommend to people. And so you said, well, I'm just going to have to create it myself. How do you get the motivation to do that? Because there are a lot of people out there that would have just been like, oh, well, I'll just go with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working in the business for quite some time, and I've been working with brands, and I've probably worked with brands, as I said, from sort of hotels and restaurants through to fitness and health and beauty for over 20 years. So of course I knew that I had the capacity, if I had to do the sort of how does it look piece, what's its tone of voice piece. I knew about ingredients from a personal level, battling with skin from childhood. I knew what ingredients worked, but again, I've also worked with brands, and then I got together with a leading natural skincare manufacturer in the UK with an ex-L'Oreal scientist. So I had all those pieces. Now, if I hadn't had any of those pieces, would I have done it? Probably not, to be honest. So I did have a somewhat of a head start. So I sort of think of it as a lifetime in the making in many ways. But I did speak to a very dear friend of mine who's an exceptionally inspiring, motivated and motivating woman. And she just said, you just better do it. You just got to do it. And that really pushed me over the edge. So yes, having some community and reaching out to friends. But it was a very specific conversation that I remember so well. And I almost, I almost would have been embarrassed if I hadn't done it, because she was like, you've got everything it takes, just do it.
I love it. And it's a great testament to really, knowing your own strengths, having the confidence in yourself to say, I can do this, and then taking the opportunities that are there, because it sounds like it was a lot about who you knew, not just the people that were ex-scientists with L'Oreal and that, which is obviously amazing, but also to have that support system from that friend that is saying, no, you've got to do this, Karen. Yeah. And so many people, I think, would not allow themselves to relish in their own strength, and instead would allow that little voice that says, oh my God, it's going to be so much work and I can't do that. Who am I to do this? And what if it goes wrong? And instead you looked at all of that as opportunity and said, why not? Why not do this? There's a need for it in the market. I know so many people that this is going to help, including yourself, right, with your own skin. And you said, no, I'm going to look at this as an opportunity, and I'm going to take it.
Yes, and I must say that, there was a lot of not knowing stuff as well. So I was really confident about the actual product and ingredients. I was super confident about that. I was super confident about, I knew I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I knew that was my strength, the presentation, the positioning. But there was a lot I didn't know. And so a bit of ignorance is a wonderful thing, because if I had known the challenges that were going to be ahead of me, I may not have known, I may not have done it. So I know a lot of people are very caught up in, you got to have this plan, you got to do this, you got to do all this research. I know that's great, but I sort of say, just kind of do it. Just start, just begin. So whatever you want to do, just begin. And that, yes, it's wonderful to have orders of support and to have investment, to have business plans, and to have, financial people on board. That would be amazing if you could, but not that many people have that much access to those sorts of resources. And I certainly did not. But you will never do it if you don't just start. So I would say that. And the other thing, I think women are very bad at owning up to the good things. I used to do quarterly immersions, wellness immersion days at the Cummings-Palmer spa in the Metropolitan Hotel. And one of the questions, and I did it with a meditation expert, and we had guest speakers as well, but I was, talking a lot about, my core piece, the Asian management piece and the beauty from the inside out. And I used to ask people, and they won a prize. We did something fabulous, like a day at some spa or something, or a weekend away. And I used to ask people, in order to win the prize, I want you to name something about yourself that you love that's physical. Not, you're a really good listener, but physical. And women, they find two things very hard. They find it very hard to big themselves up physically, or not even, but just claim their physicality. And most people I know have one wonderful feature, physical feature. It could be their eyes, it could be their hands, it could be their shoulders, it could be the hair. They have something, right? They don't want to claim it. And the other thing they don't want to claim is a sort of, is a kind of intellectual or creative power. And I'm really comfortable with claiming the stuff about me that is good, that's positive, my gifts. And I'm also really comfortable, and arguably too comfortable. I'm still a woman. I'm still subject to these insecurities. I'm very good at saying what I'm bad at. I'm still better at saying what I'm bad at than what I'm good at. But for me, it's just like, it's not really to do with me. It's a gift. I happen to be clueless about some things, and I happen to be really good at others. And it's just a fact. It's the way it is.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's incredible. I think so many people will relate to that, right? Like every time you go to say something that is positive about yourself, you've got 10 other things that are going on in your mind about all of your flaws, right? All the things that you'd like to change in the snap of a finger. Oh, it's so true. And it's refreshing to hear. And I think it's so important that people hear that when you've got somebody like yourself who is so successful and is in a real position of leadership, that you still will have those same types of conversations with yourself. You're just choosing to try to focus on those positive things and not let those negative things take over.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I also think that if we can claim the positives, if we can truly say out loud, if somebody has, amazing skin or stunning eyes, if they can just say that, it also kind of takes away the currency of that, because actually that's nothing to do with them. How people present themselves is to do with them. How people have, worked with, I'm so impressed by people that actually haven't been given that much necessarily, but have sort of worked and made it happen and evolved and learned. That's so impressive. If you've been given a gift, it's kind of it just is what it is. So there's no point denying it. It is only I'm really not into doing these, the sort of reposting motivational quotes and stuff on Instagram, but there was one that I came across the other day that I did absolutely love. And it was somebody that said, I'm sure you've come across it, you have absolutely no right to the cards you think you should have been dealt, but you do have the obligation to play the hell out of the ones you have.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and I just thought that was amazing. I just thought that is exactly it.
That is so powerful. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I've got chills up my arms. I love that. That is so impactful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, how can people find you, Karen?
So, if people want to find me, and I do, I see people remotely as well as face to face. Just KarenCummings-Palmer.com. I'm so easy to find, and my Instagram is Karen Cummings-Palmer. And then the brand is 79 Lux Skincare on Instagram, or tap in Google 79 Lux. So 79lux.com is the website, and all the stockists and all the information about the brand are available there. I just want to say one other thing about the brand is it really focuses on body skincare, and this sort of speaks to the whole piece around, aging and age management.
Yeah.
It's quite a new idea to sort of serious skincare for the body, because I think we've neglected our body skin.
Yeah.
And part of the reason is because, get to 45 or 50, and typically women would just cover up. No strappy dresses, over the age of 45 in previous generations. But the good thing is, because people are a bit more conscious about nutrition, because lots of people do engage in some form of movement, women now, certainly women in my, that's my age group, they're sort of kind of, they still want to wear short skirts from time to time. They still want to wear, strappy dresses. And so they're sort of having to sort of think, okay, let me focus in on the skin care of my body. And then of course it's such a big area. It's sort of, if you can be as natural as possible, that obviously also makes a lot of sense.
Yes, that is so true. Amazing. Now, I'm going to put all of the links in the show notes. So anybody that is listening, don't worry about not having a pen and paper and scribbling this down. Just head on over to lifelikeyoumeanit.com/Karen Cummings-Palmer, and that we will have all of the links to everything that Karen spoke about today, including her Instagram and other social media, as well as 79 Lux and her personal website as well. So thank you, Karen, so much for coming on. People are going to get so much out of this, that you really are making such a huge impact. So I'm so grateful that you came on the show today.
Oh, Lisa, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Okay, I don't even know where to start with all the inspiration I got from this conversation with Karen. I simply love her take on being healthy. No rules, no diets, no fads, and replace the word exercise with movement. And she's so right, isn't she? We're talking about a lifestyle change here, aren't we? Not just with food and movement, but with our attitude. Grabbing opportunities, not denying your gifts, living consciously, allowing yourself to be ignorant, treating life like a gym, being better at saying what you're good at than what you're bad at, and reframing what comfort is to you. Karen's 3 tips are completely attainable in my eyes. Create the ritual, be non-negotiable, and don't set yourself up for failure. Can you commit to this today? Because I know I will. By the end of today, I am going to decide on my ritual, whether it be with food or movement, make sure it's something I can commit to daily, being my non-negotiable, and make sure it's realistic. This will help me to keep it my non-negotiable, but also will set me up for success. So what will my ritual be? Well, it's hard to say, as Karen talked about it, so many amazing things that are pretty simple to implement daily. I mean, she suggested adding an omega-3 supplement, moving every day, having a natural anti-inflammatory, and having really good nutrition habits. So the question is, which is the best fit for me right now? How about you? Are any of these things you can begin to implement and hold up to Karen's top tips? head on over to the show notes to find links to Karen's website and social media, as well as other links brought up during today's episode. Thank you so much to Karen for being on the show, and thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Life Like You Mean It podcast. Now go get started creating your ritual.
Thanks for listening to the Life Like You Mean It podcast. Head on over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at www.lifelikeyoumeanit.com/blog. If you love the show, leave a rating and review. Share that love by spreading the word. Post a link to your social media. Share it with your friends and follow or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast hosting site. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, remember to live your life on purpose by living life like you mean it.